Hey everyone, Ryan here from Budget Gearbox. Today I want to talk to you about reloading, the basic requirements to get started with pistol ammunition, and some things I found to be useful as well. So sit tight and we'll jump right in. Alright guys, let's get to it. The first thing that I want to talk to you about is space. Now, a lot of people don't think about this when you're reloading. You need some space. I don't know if you got a spare room, a basement. I use my basement. I've got a bench set up down here. You're going to need a pretty sturdy bench. On top of the space, you're going to need time. Time and space are what I consider the most two important things when I come down to reload. I got 2 kids, so I don't have a lot of time at home. Therefore, it's on the top of my list for reloading. We're going to talk about pistol reloading. It's a lot easier than reloading rifle. When you're reloading pistol, you need a lot less time than reloading rifles, not a lot of prep work on the brass, but there is some prep work. When I'm done shooting, my friends have made fun of me. They'll send me picking brass up off the ground. Take some time to pick it up. I take about a half an hour at the end of my shooting session. When you get home, take that brass, throw it inside a tumbler. That takes probably 5 minutes. Set the timer 4 hours, come back later, your brass is ready to be loaded. No problem. Now, the real time is when I get down here and I start the reloading process. I can do probably 100 to 150 rounds of pistol in an hour. So the time is definitely something you guys need to take into consideration before you decide you want to jump into reloading. But today I'm just going to show you the things that I use to load, give you an idea of what you need to get. But let's get over here, start looking at the stuff that I use to load. Okay, well, here's the first step. This is the press that I use to reload. This is a Lee 4-hole turret press. The way this press operates, you put a piece of brass in the shell holder down here. And you come up with the brass, and it's going to load into a die on the top. It's going to perform a step on the reloading process. When you bring the brass back down, the turret auto-indexes to the next step. When I reload my pistol brass, on 3 pumps of this handle, I get 1 piece of ammunition loaded. If you were doing it on something like a single stage press, each time you go on to a different step, you have to change out your die on the top of the press and redo all the brass that you just had. I like the turret press for a beginner because it's easier to pay attention than if you had a progressive press, where you have all the steps happening at one time and there's a lot more going on. That way you can get a better understanding of how reloading the process works. This press right here sells on Midway for $130 as a kit. I'm going to show you the kinds of things that come in the kit right now, and I'll tell you what I do and what I don't like about them. Alright, first thing I want to talk about here with this kit comes with this Lee beam scale. Now this scale, it works. It has a really complicated system here, but once you figure it out and you can set your grains, it works great for first time. I used to use this scale all the time with everything that I loaded, but I'd find that the powder measures didn't always throw accurate charges. They'd be off by 1/10 of a grain, 2/10 of a grain. This scale is going to pick it up. To change it, it's a pain. It's a lot easier with the digital scale. You guys can do what you want. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm showing you what I do, making some recommendations on how I feel you can improve on it. Alright, now let's take a look at the auto disc powder measure. This powder measure, sorry guys, I already have it set up on my 9mm reloading set here, but this powder measure, it's good. I like it. I still use it. It is very accurate. It does throw off a little bit, 1/10, 2/10, like I said with the scale, but it does the job. My ammo that I make, I don't use for any kind of competitive shooting, no accuracy. It's all handgun ammo I use for plinking, having fun with the guys. So I'll make my loads low, so it doesn't really matter if it's off a little bit, because I know I'm not shooting hot loads. It's not going to cause any damage to my gun. So I really like this powder measure. There are upgraded powder measures. I do have some. Not going to talk about them in this video, but I will later on. Alright, now as far as the other pieces that come in this set, it comes with brass prep tools. It comes with this cutter here for your case lengths. You're not going to need that if you're doing pistol. I don't know why it comes with it, because most rifle, you're not loading the charge with that powder measure. It also comes with chamfer and deburr tools. I didn't like the tools that came in the kit. I got rid of those. So I went out and bought this one. It's about $7, but for the price, you can't beat it. I wouldn't recommend using the ones in the kit, but you might like it. So that's what you get for your $130 for the Lee 4-hole turret press on Midway. I'm going to move on now to my 9mm die set. Now I already have the die set up inside this turret head, so I'm just going to go ahead and show it to you. So this die set comes with 3 dies. The first die we're looking at is a full-size expander die. Now if you notice, that die has a decapping pin on it. It takes your primers out. So what it's going to do is, on your first step, it's going to knock that primer out and resize that brass down to its factory size. On your next step, we have a powder through expanding die. And what that does is, when the brass comes up, see it's got that little bevel in there? That's going to put a little bell on the brass so you can fit the bullet inside. And it's also going to activate your powder measure, which is going to drop the powder and fill up your case. And then the third and final step is a bullet seating die. And what that does is that sets your depth. You got a little knob up here, and you turn it. You can set your depth on your bullet so you can get your cartridge overall length. Once you have that set, it can also put a little roll crimp on it, a taper crimp, whatever you want to call it. It's going to get rid of that bell that was put on by your expanding die that you are going to need is a caliper. Now I went to Harbor Freight and bought this Pittsburgh caliper. An item number here. Item number is, can't get it to focus, but it's 47257. This digital caliper works good. It's about $20 at Harbor Freight. You can get a 20% off coupon, find it on sale. It's good. It's easy to read. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You do need a caliper though to measure your bullets. Your ammunition, rather. Okay, one upgrade that I have does come in handy. I love it. It's a digital scale. It's a lot easier to use than this beam scale, and it will show you pretty accurately what your charge is, how much powder you're throwing. So you're going to want that. It makes the job a lot faster. Let's move on now and take a look. Sorry, making a mess here. The Rockford Arsenal Quick and Easy Case Tumbler. This is what I use to clean my brass. You put the brass in the top here, you set the timer for 4 hours, you come back, you have clean brass. This tumbler can be found on Amazon for under $40. I did originally have a cheap tumbler that I got from Harbor Freight. I don't recommend it. I probably used it about 4 months, maybe put 2,000 rounds through it, and that thing died. This one, I've probably got 2,000 rounds through it now, and I have not had a problem. I say rounds, I mean pieces of brass. But you get the idea. Media. You're gonna need a media for inside this. Obviously, it doesn't just make the brass clean by itself. I bought this box of walnut shell, fine grade, 25 pounds from Harbor Freight. Don't remember the price and I don't have it with me right now. I'll throw it up when I make the video. But I bought this over a year ago. I still have 90% of it left. You're not going to use a lot of it. A lot of people I've read, they'll say they use corn cob after the walnut shell. They'll use the walnut shell first to get most of the big stuff off. Then they'll use the corn cob to clean up the brass. But like I said, I'm not doing competitive shooting. I'm not making show brass. This is a clean case. Let's see if I can get a better shot of it. That case is clean enough for me. I'm not trying to win any awards with my reloads. I'm just punking. A little bit. About this primer feeder. The way that this primer feeder works is it goes on the front of your press, like so. And your primers are going to sit inside this tub, and they get loaded down here on this little arm. And that'll load it when you bring the brass back down. That'll load the primer into the case. You're going to need that. You're going to need a hand primer, something to that extent. I recommend priming on the press. It saves time. That primer feeder, I can't find it anymore. I don't know if they don't make it. Lee does make a primer feeder. It's shaped like a triangle. It's not a circle anymore. I don't know why they changed it. But it's $24, and it comes with the adapter so you can put it on a turret press. Also, if you are using this primer feeder, when you go to load your rounds, you're going to find out, sorry, I'm trying to do this with one hand here, you're going to find out that when this comes around, it's going to hit the primer feeder. You're going to need this riser die. That die, $8, cheap investment, well worth the money. You're going to get a lot of aggravation if you don't use it. So just go ahead and get yourself one. Another tool you're going to need, not required, not right away at least. I found this out the hard way too. A bullet puller. You're going to make mistakes. I made mistakes. What do? Knock them out, learn from your mistakes, don't do it again. Also, reload data. You're going to want books. You're going to read. These books will give you everything that I haven't. They give you the how-tos, the whatnots, give you all your charges, different types of bullets. I found out that one book isn't going to do everything. You can make do with one book. I recommend at least two. I have the Hornady. I also use this Lyman. Pretty good books. I started out with the Lyman. I was doing everything with that. Didn't realize how much I was missing until I got the second book. Also, guys, get yourself a notepad. Keep track of all your loads. It's a lot easier if you buy the same powder again to go back, make a couple test loads, try them out. It's going to save you time. Alright guys, well thanks for sticking around. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about the numbers. The stuff that I gave you here today, if you go with everything I recommended, what I have, it's going to be about $310, give or take. Maybe you find some deals. I'll give you the price that I pay on 9mm, because we're talking pistol brass. I'm doing my 9s for about $140 per 1,000 rounds right now. If you keep on that pace, to get your $310 investment back, you're looking at just under 2,700 rounds before you get that back. If you're going to reload, I recommend doing multiple calibers because as you move up in the caliber, you do different ones. You are anywhere from $30 to $75 per caliber after you have all this initial startup. So it's going to make it cheaper. You're going to get your money back a lot faster, especially if you're going to move up to rifle. So with everything I've given you here today, I'll let you figure out what you want to do. Leave me some comments. Let me know what you think of the video. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out our Instagram page. Got a lot of good stuff going on right now. And like I said, guys, thanks for coming.